District Collab, Commonwealth, Unity Nights.
Yes.
It's happening.
Let's go.
It's
It is
only a matter of
happening.
time. When we gather, we are the church.
Love that people are becoming open to different styles of worship.
Be,
You don't want to cut a lot of this out.
be unfiltered if you want to. If you want to filter anything. I was gonna say, if you want to filter, you can
dangerous
filter.
telling me that. Okay.
I do have like a few questions, but really I just want to just kind of just talk about like the unity in the church, in our ministries. And first off, I just want to talk about like you guys' ministries that you lead. So you have Commonwealth,
Yep.
Commonwealth Worship. You have District Collab. So let's just talk about like, let's just go around and just kind of just give like a brief like, this is when we started.
Yeah.
This is our mission. And this is what we've seen God do through our ministries.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
you go first.
Oh, great. Okay. So Commonwealth Worship started in 2020, peak COVID, as a means of getting young adults to gather while we were feeling very isolated and separated. We started with outdoor worship nights. It wasn't known as Commonwealth in the early days. I think our first events were called Outdoor Multi-Church Young Adult Worship Night.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a mouthful. And we started realizing it's going to be hard to fit that on a poster. So, but yeah, October 2020, Commonwealth was born. It was also a means of connecting churches and young adults from churches, specifically churches that have smaller young adult communities. I had started seeing a trend of young adults leaving their churches to try to find more peers and more community.
That's so good.
In churches closer to the city. And I feel like both parties were missing out in that exchange, that the churches are losing their young adult voices and the young adults were missing out on intergenerational discipleship. And so wanted a way to connect young adults with one another without them feeling like they had to leave their churches to do so. So from the very, very beginning, Commonwealth has always been through the church. We say it's not a parachurch organization, it's an inter-church organization because it doesn't exist without the local church. And so we've been doing quarterly worship nights ever since then for the last 4-ish years and seen incredible growth. Seen so many cool networks grown out of that. Seen musicians connecting and songwriters. We've seen a prayer team emerge from that.
Yes.
A lot of different churches collaborating, young adult groups collaborating because of meeting at these events and connecting over these events. And they've been such a joy to be a part of, every single one. So
Let's go.
it's kind of where we are now.
Love that, brother. Love that.
It's so good. Well, the District Collab.
Yes.
Yeah.
It started, I believe, in like, I want to say, well, the idea first was posed to me. I do have a partner. His name is Jose Rodriguez. He's amazing. He's one of my best friends. He may not say that. We're like brother and sister, literally. And he came to me because I wanted to release an EP. I wanted to figure it out. But I felt like the common thing was like I was by myself, right? And in this big world of like all these artists and the people who do this thing for a living, I'm like just figuring it out. Like I sing in church, but I also have this like creative side to me where like I want to make music and record and do all these things. And so Jose was like, well, we should just like make this bigger and not just about like you. And I'm like, great, because I don't want it to be me.
Yeah.
I really don't. And so we invited, I think it started 2022. And we recorded in 2022. So that was our first District Collab. And we recorded my EP, but I also invited worship leaders in the area to come and sing and kind of like, do their thing, get in the room. There's a lot of worship leaders also who had the desire to record, but didn't feel safe in a safe space to do it.
That's so real.
And so it was very God-fearing because like, when you take somebody's heart very seriously and they're like putting it out and giving you a chance, it's kind of like, well, I can't mess this up.
Yeah.
And so I was grateful that the District Collab has been kind of this like safe place for worship leaders to jump back out again. And so We record it. It's great. So we started to do it like twice a year, then like once a year, because it's money, right? It comes from me
Yeah.
and Jose's pockets. Let's talk about it.
Come on.
It's a lot of bills. We love the Lord, but it's a lot of money. And so we've been doing it once a year. It's a pop-up event. We'll show up in Maryland, Virginia. We haven't gotten to DC yet, but we're trying to like pop around different places and see. But it's been so cool. Every district collab to invite people, but also see healing happen in worship leaders, right?
That's so good.
I do one small story. Is one worship leader was telling me that, like, you know, she takes worship very seriously. We all should,
Yes.
right? But there's a moment where this person felt that they had this picture of worship in, I guess, outside church, big church, that it was just like show and performance-y. It can be, right? And that's cool, and it does serve a certain part of the body.
Yeah.
We do know that. But she wanted like the heart. She wanted like real presence, not smoke machines, not, you know, we all know the fog and the lights and the LED lights, because she couldn't find it for a while. And she kind of stopped her journey and like looking, you know, like I'm just gonna just sing in church and serve. And so it's been like an honor to see a lot of people come out from, there's more than just serving in your local church.
Yes.
Right? It's more, you have creativity inside of you. Let's help you. Let's at least put you out there a little bit, and let's, you know, if you want to record, if that's your heart desire, we'll record. And then Jose's side, too, is the business side, which I'm like, I'm music side, he's business.
Yeah.
He's money. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, it'll work out.
Yeah.
And so
We all need a Jose.
Yes.
Yeah, so you all need a Jose.
We do.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jose.
Are you kidding me?
Shout
I
out to
would
Jose.
not even. Shout out to him. He's a real homie. But yeah, so he had this idea of having vendors, and so we would have local businesses who are trying to be, you know, up and coming, who are Christian and saved, because you know you got to vet people.
Yeah, come on.
And if you invite them in, you take responsibility for it
Yes.
as a leader.
Yeah.
You all know that. And so he does the vendor side. He also has his own business too. So it kind of means something to him to be kind of in the world of Christianity, but also have your own business.
Yeah.
So we try to do both.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much what District Collab is. Every time we have an event, we have vendors. We also have music as well, and we record. And so it's been great to see the creativity come out of it. So it's been good.
And
awesome.
I'll add, guys, because I think we've all been to each other's events.
Yeah.
Yes.
District Collab, the level of talent at all those events is so
Yes.
high. The music is fire. It's so good. And I
Yes.
love the vendors there, too. It just makes it feel like a
Bro, the
full
streetwear pop-ups.
community
Oh,
event.
Oh,
yeah.
sheesh.
We had a guy making T-shirts, like, right
Yes.
the last time, right? Where you, like, ordered a T-shirt and he made it
Yeah,
right there.
I saw
and I'm
that.
like,
No
that's-
way.
Yeah. He was
That's
printing
so
T-shirts,
cool.
like,
See,
live.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time before we copy this at
Yeah.
Commonwealth.
Right. Copy it, come
Or
on.
in church you say model
Yes.
after.
Yeah,
yeah,
model
yeah.
after.
Stealing.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
modeling,
Because the Lord
but
still is in business. He's still in
It's
small
true.
businesses.
Yes.
You know, it's not just music.
Moving
as
through
we
all of
know.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so we have Unity Nights. So
Yes.
what a lot of people don't know is we started as a group in 2016.
Yeah.
We were a gospel group.
So what he's saying is we all copied him.
2016. Yeah.
We started in
They
2016.
paved the way.
We were a gospel group, and we were like just traveling around. We were friends from and worship leaders from all these different churches. It's probably like about 10 of us, including the band.
wow.
It wasn't like 10 singers at the same time. That's crazy. But yeah, we were traveling around the DMV, and we traveled to like Pennsylvania, and we were putting out singles, and we put out an album. And like as we were traveling around, it was fun and it was great. We were meeting a lot of people, but we were realizing like a lot of these places that we're singing at, they want us to like perform. They want us to like really come and just be an attraction to their youth, which is not anything we're opposed to, but also like we were in a space where we're like coming out of our teenage years into our late 20s, and we're like still trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Like, why do you want us to be that?
Yeah.
And then also too on the performance side, like God was like meeting us in our worship rehearsals and like really just like wrecking us, and we're just feeling the presence, and we wanted to share that experience anytime we travel. But like the places that we were going to, they just wanted us to like, you know, just check your job.
Yeah.
And so
Turn on the fog machine.
turn on the fog machine, man. We're like, what's a fog machine? Because we weren't even around that at that time. And so we just had this thought one of our team members on our team had a thought of doing a worship night, but I think in context we didn't really understand where she was coming from. And we were like, nah, like, You know, we got all these things going on. I don't think we'll have enough time for that. People might not show up. And then moving forward in the future, you know, just I think out of the frustration of just the spaces that we were going to, we just had the thought again of like, what if we did do our own worship night? What would that look like? And the pastor that I was serving under at that time, he was like, I think you guys should really do this. And so we were like, okay, let's bring this to the team. Let's talk about it. And it was a little bit of confusion about it because it was this thing of like getting out of the rhythm of constantly getting booked and like all the things. And so talking through that, it was like, okay, so are we not going to be getting paid for the thing anymore? It's like, no, we're not. And also it wasn't that much money either. So, and so I was like, let's just see what happens. Let's see what the Lord does. And so we had our first Unity Night, 2019 in October. And we had no language of like unity in the church. Like, we're just like, let's just share what we've been experiencing in our rehearsal time, all of these different denominations together in this space. Let's just see what happens. And so we saw something that we've never seen before, specifically in the PG County area of Maryland. We saw friendships being reunited, childhood friendships. We saw different denominations. Like, people came in suits, people came in sweatsuits, people came in just like casual streetwear. And we're like, what is this thing that's happening right now? This is not a normal thing in Prince George's County. Like, I'm like, this is not a normal thing.
Yeah.
And so we're just like, okay, Lord, like, you're doing something different, but like, we don't know what that is, but we feel led to like just steward it. So we're doing this monthly. Pandemic happens, and we're just like, all right, well, I guess we're not meeting anymore. And so we just felt led to still have that relational piece, because what we noticed at the first Unity Night was relationship was like something that was really like drawing people together. It really was centered around like Jesus Christ, because it wasn't like the performance aspect. And also too within us, because like we were coming from that world where I guess in the quote unquote gospel space, like that's more prevalent. And so like we were just trying to figure out, okay, like what does this look like with all these different people coming from all these different spaces? And so relationship was like the big thing that like was helping us like see like, okay, like it doesn't have to look a certain way. Like we can come as we are, and we can just really focus on Jesus and just let the Lord, you know, do what he wants to do in the room. So throughout the pandemic, we were doing these Instagram lives and having Bible studies. And
I remember those Instagram lives.
Zoom calls and all the online platforms. Let's not do that again.
No.
And we just really built like this online community. So when we relaunched in 2022, it was like kind of like plug and play. And also too, in between that time, like the group was no longer a thing. Like, just life was happening. And then also God was giving us like language of like, you know, I'm traveling. I was getting plugged in with like Maverick City and a whole bunch of people. And then some of our other people were getting plugged in different communities. And so like God was giving us all this different language to pour back into the mission of Unity Nights. And so when we restarted, we realized like, man, all of our experience from 2016 and now, like we've seen, it's just been so much division in the church, from like racial division, from denominational division to division in expression. And we were just like, we want to really like, just like be bold and like lean into that, whatever that looks like. And so, so our mission is based off of John 17, where Jesus prayed. It says, okay, that's super embarrassing trying to find that scripture. While I'm doing that, if you want to partner with us, if you want to unite your city, or if you want to be a part of a future writing camp, click the link. It's going to be somewhere here, or here, and fill out one of those forms, and somebody from our team is going to get back with you. All right, back to the video. So it's this verse that says, I do not pray for these alone. It's in John 17, verse 20 through 21. I do not pray for these alone. It is not for their sake only that I make this request, but also for all those who will ever believe and trust in me through their message, that they may all be one, just as you, Father, are in me and I in you, that they also may be one in us, so that the world may believe without any doubt that you sent me. And so we really base everything that we do off of the prayer that Jesus made of basically the church being united.
Yeah.
And so I love to ask from you guys, like, what are some ways, and I know you've seen it in like so many different ways. You already talked about it. What are some ways that you've seen like unity within your ministries and also within y'all's churches too? Because I know y'all's churches support what y'all do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's big. It's big.
Good question.
I think the groups and kind of ministries that have been born out of Commonwealth have been little like microcosm of that unity. So, for instance, we'll take the musicians. This was a bonus that I wasn't expecting when we started, but all these communities in the different pockets of groups that help put Commonwealth together. So like the musicians, as we've added to our musician list and had new churches involved, new musicians involved, they've started connecting with one another, collaborating with one another. I've had people reach out to me like, hey, our church is looking for a worship leader.
That list is strong too.
Yeah,
It's a
come
strong
on.
list. It's a who's who of extremely talented, great musicians from the area. And they've started helping at each other's churches. They've started filling in gaps. They've started putting on their own worship events together. They've started songwriting together. We've seen the same with our prayer team. We've seen the same with our artist team, artists who are getting together and collaborating on activities, talking about putting on separate events just for visual arts.
Let's go.
And those are across churches and denominations. So it's, we're seeing, I'm hearing news stories every day of different
what's
groups
new?
and different people.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm
It's
like,
oh, okay.
oh, where was my invite? No, but I love to see it. I love to see just organically. That was the hope from the beginning, that it would like inspire and encourage others to kind of do the same, and like more little pockets of unity, connection, collaboration, community would be born out of these nights, and we're really seeing it.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen, brother. Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have any thoughts about unity, like the church, Big C Church?
As personally, like,
Well, I mean,
Like
even within
from
your church,
your church in
like where
general.
you've seen like how your ministry has impacted your church.
Yeah. So I think it's helped us connect with some other, specifically young adults in the area, to try to, it just broadens our horizons.
Yeah.
I think we can get very caught up in the church within our own walls. But when God was praying when Jesus was praying for unity in the church, he wasn't just praying for our little C church. He's praying for the unity as a church as a whole. When he's talking about parts of the body, the hand and the eyes, he wasn't just talking about the pieces in your local church. He's talking about the greater church and the resources that we all have to share. So I think it just has gotten us to think outside of ourselves. We've connected and done some joint events with other churches local to us. We've had multiple youth groups connect because of the relationships that have been established between our youth ministry and some leaders in youth ministries of churches near us. We've done some joint worship events with some of our neighboring churches that I've found and discovered through the Commonwealth network. We've even been able to fill in some gaps at other churches. There's a local Lutheran church that reached out to me and said, hey, we need some help. We lost our worship leader. We need some interim worship leaders to fill in, and we were able to give them musicians just as a means of like, we've got resources that you need, and the same's going to be true the other way around. And so just treating it as one giant body and not just kind of keeping our eyes only within our own walls. And I think that leads to a competitive spirit. When you see growth in another church, instead of being celebrating that and saying, hey, God is moving in the area, you start thinking, oh, what are we doing wrong? Or how do
that's
we
so
do what
good.
they're doing?
Yeah.
But then when you get outside your walls, you realize that, a rising tide raises all ships. So
Talk about it.
their success is our success.
Yeah.
We're seeing the kingdom grow, and the church as a whole is going to benefit from that, and that should be celebrated. And so I think it just comes back to that point of thinking outside of ourselves, and
Yes, sir.
as a whole body of people and resources and talent
Yes, sir.
that's meant to be shared.
There's something beautiful about Commonwealth that I love. And I love, like, there's an openness it's very, I can't put my finger on it. I know there's like a lot of churches and a lot of people that come, but it's beautiful every time. It's literally, you can see it in the room, not just racially, okay?
Yeah.
You're talking about like where you come from, your morals, your character, who you are, your church, your religious background. It's just like beautiful to see it in one room. And it's every, Commonwealth I've been to see, and I'm like, and there's moments where I'm like, oh, this is what it is. This is it.
It's like a little
And it's
glimpse
like
of heaven.
open, and it's like
Yeah.
you're not you, but like even Commonwealth, they're not greedy and like holding things back, right? Resources, or like you saying you're providing, worship leaders or musicians. It's like, but that's what it is. People want to hold tight, to everything that they got. But the openness about that, like that, is beautiful to me.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, I'm like, well, that's it. That's real kind of like unity or in the body of Christ is we're just going to share, right? We're just going to share everything that we have, and being open, and the arts, and like, I'm just, me thinking about it, even being a part of Commonwealth, it's just been beautiful to see the progression that it's been over. I mean, maybe I've been here 2 years, maybe a year or so, but it's been beautiful to see the prayer team. And I'm like, well, this is like, I would be nervous if we're like a full-on church. It would scare me because it's like it has a like that type of like, it makes me almost a fear of the Lord. I'm like, this thing is like really real.
Yeah.
And it almost freaks me out a little bit because I'm just like, this could be it,
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
it goes back to something we always
Does that make
say.
sense? I'm
Yeah,
like, it's just
absolutely.
like-
Yeah.
But something we always say to at all our events. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this at least once. But we always say, when we're coming together, we're not trying to become a church,
Right.
but when we gather, we are the church. And so we're never trying to become anybody's main source of community, investment, serving, tithing. But we recognize that when we gather, he's there, and we are the church in that moment.
It's beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Oh, unity. This is great. I would say I'll say ministry-wise, District Collab, of course, racially, we have a lot of different races.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be clear. Different types of musicality, skill. You can talk about all that. But for me, I would love to say that unity looked like in District Collab. It's honestly just like, I want to say it's like a picture of like lifting each other up. It's one of these pictures where like I see like, okay, or like here's a step and I'm going to step above you. Like, here's a step, here's another step. It's almost like me giving you a hand and you're like pulling me out in a sense.
Yeah.
And so for me, I've loved to see like people come out of their stuff. People come out of hiding, come out of and trying new things. And so we're all just trying to figure it out. It's not like it's not like, I'm trying to figure out what recording and writing is, and people are trying to figure out it's like a very vulnerable thing because you're putting yourself out there and in front of people, by the way. And it is this big like production, and we're trying to like, I don't know, but we're all like vulnerable and all like sensitive, and I'm just saying, every District Collab, me and Jose, it is something that happens emotionally, spiritually, because it's like we're all in that tender space where like we're just trying to figure it out, and we don't want to mess it up too, but we also know that people's livelihood is a part of this, their dreams are a part of this, and we take that seriously. So we're all united in that aspect of like, we're just trying to figure out, but we also love the Lord and we want to follow him. And we're not going to force this thing, right? And so me and Jose have always had this thing of like, if this ever feels forced, we're just not going to do it.
Yeah, that's real.
We don't have to.
That's so real.
It's very freeing.
It's very freeing, sobering moment where I'm like, we don't have to do this. This is like, if we feel forced, no, we're good.
Yeah.
So for me, unity looks like just like being commonality of just like vulnerability and like putting yourself out there and actually stepping out with a leap of faith. Like, okay, hey, this is what I kind of have to offer. Is it okay? Is it not okay? And sometimes, you're like, okay, we'll have your back. We'll figure it out. And so it's been cool to see that aspect. As far as church wise too, it's been very interesting to see like church members and my church members see, because I think we had a Commonwealth and a district collab at my church already.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting to see. They're like, who are these people? What's going, like, they're just,
Yeah.
there's so much music. And we never, like, this, like, very, like, can we do that again? I'm like, yeah, of course we can.
Yeah.
Because it takes it outside of the four walls of the church, like you said.
Amen.
Exposure, right? We can be in our rhetoric, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with rhythm. I want to say that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
I think rhythm, it's the Lord, too. But when your perspective and your eyes are open up to different culture, different music, different, how like worship styles, art, business. I mean, when it's opened up, because we all know the DMV is a small little circle. We know that.
Yep.
And so I think that has an effect on the church too. Just like you're just going to stay in your own lane and do your own thing, and that's it. I don't have to go to the next church, and I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
But I do think that's the beauty of all of our ministries is we kind of have to. We have this exposure part where people are like, oh, there is something happening.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, let me just see what it is. It kind of, curiosity kind of gets them a little bit. And I love the curiosity, but I also love that people are becoming open to different styles of worship.
Yes.
And I've been seeing that, and it doesn't look the same as it did years ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't look, and it feels different. It sounds different. And so I've been loving to see people kind of take in different sounds of worship and people and leaders, and so it's been beautiful to see that too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Love
if we're so diverse as a church, we are literally representing different aspects and characteristics of God. We literally need each other to experience a more full picture of who He is. And I think I've grown from coming to District Collab and just being stretched musically and stylistically. And it's a beautiful thing to see, to experience a new part, a new aspect, new characteristic of God that you may not get to see in your own little bubble. So, it's been so cool.
Good.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I should say about us, right?
Yeah, you better.
Yeah, you're Unity Night.
You're not getting out of this.
So, I mean, it's been a lot. So I think one thing I want to touch on for us has been the relationship aspect. Like from the beginning, when people come to Unity Nights, we see that like just so many people are just having just deep, rich conversations. One about just their difference in churches, and then also just seeing like, hey, like why like if it's a Pentecostal person talking to a Baptist person, it's like, why do you guys not, believe in speaking in tongues? Or why do you guys actually speak in tongues?
Yeah.
And just kind of finding like common ground, like of understanding, really. Yeah. And like not coming from a place of judgment. So that the relationship piece, and then also too, one thing that we've, I think we haven't really noticed because we're just always just like moving around and stuff. One thing that we noticed when we started the Unity Nights down in Nashville is we noticed that people are like really like meeting each other for the first time and like becoming friends, like becoming like best friends, like meeting
that's amazing.
Cool.
So at our first Unity Night in Nashville, it was a community gathering. It was like really just like all about relationship. We had a little bit of worship at the end, and we had everybody in their different groups. And there was this one girl that just moved into town. I think she moved into town like I think the night before or the week before. I can't remember. But she knew no one in the room. Like she was just like, I just saw this on Instagram. I'm coming out and I just wanted to just meet people.
That's so great.
And like she literally met like her best friends that night, like in their little group that they were like talking about. Yeah.
People are desperate for it.
Yes, and so it's just, so like that's one part. And they didn't go to the same church or anything. Like they were at different churches. I think they even like visit each other's churches from time to time.
Yeah. Love that.
And then another part is like expression. Like we've seen, again, from the very beginning, like people like feeling like free to express themselves through worship and not feel like, oh, like if I lift my hands or jump up and twirl around, like I'm gonna look weird in the room. It's like, no, like everybody's like doing their own thing, and like they're just bringing their expression to the table for the Lord,
Yeah.
and not worrying about like, oh, is somebody gonna judge me, or am I gonna get kicked out for this? Because
Right.
you know some churches will do that and be like, hey, you're doing a little
Seriously.
too much.
Yeah. It gets interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gets interesting.
I mean, the judgment can go both ways. and
Yes,
so
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Comfort and that freedom is so important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Holding a
like even
space
if
for that.
like if someone is like, you know, more like, you know, I'm a contemplative person, like even those people feel comfortable to like worship in that space too. So like yeah, that's been great. Now, as far as how my church has been expected, so obviously I'm not in the DMV anymore. So but when I was here, we saw that when we were having unity nights at our church, and then even when we were just like traveling around, specifically like the Northern Virginia area, we've just seen like people from our church, like you said, for your space, like they've been exposed to just different
Yeah.
like different music styles, worship leading styles, preaching styles, like everything
Yeah.
across the board,
That's
and just
good.
been like, oh wow, so like it's not just about my church. It's not
Yeah.
about just
Yeah.
my denominations. Like it's just that perspective change. And at the church that I'm at now in Nashville, God has blessed us to really be at a church that really embodies, like they are like full on. We want to see unity
Yeah.
in the church, and
That's
so like
good.
Love that.
they put on different things in the city, like prayer gatherings and
Wow.
Ooh.
like connecting with like different pastors and things, and like
Yeah.
like God literally like blessed us to be there, because like we're like, yes, we are all about this,
Yeah.
and we've been praying to be at a church that's like not only we're doing this and they just
Right.
support us, but like they're doing it too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
good.
Shout
That's
out to
good.
our churches.
Yes,
Yes.
amen.
Because
Come on.
we
gosh.
all go to attend churches that believe in the mission and like
Yes.
provide
Yes.
resources.
Yes.
Each of our churches have hosted each of our events
Yes, amen.
in
Yes.
the past, and they really
God for
believe
them.
in the vision. And yeah, so it's a blessing to be a part of a church like that.
Yes, I
Yeah.
want to touch on something that you said earlier. You were talking
Yeah.
about when churches see other churches like having growth, like that competition can arise.
Yeah.
How can churches be better at celebrating churches that may be at a place where they're like, man, we would love to like have that many people come into our church, or we love to have musicians like that. Like how can we use our ministries to encourage churches to celebrate
Wow.
other churches' growth?
That's a great question, and I can't wait to hear Becca's response.
my
No,
God.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that to you. Yeah, no, it is a good question. I think I grew up with a lot of that competition around, and I was guilty of it myself. Even in college, I was part of a college ministry, and I think you always kind of had another eye on the other ministries, and you're like, how are they doing? Are they doing better than us? And there's, when the incoming students come, everybody's fighting over the same students to try to get them to come. I would say it comes down to two things. One, if you're truly friends with each other, if you're collaborating, if you know one another, then you can't help but root for each other. And so I think that's one of the things that these types of events encourage. It's like I'm not keeping one eye on the nameless leaders and staff of church X, Y, and Z. I know them, and I'm friends with them. We grab coffee. We attend worship nights together. And when you have that friendship, there's really a bond that makes you root for each other.
Yeah.
And when you hear about success at their church, you get excited. You're excited for them, and you're excited for the kingdom. And I think the second is, I think it comes down to what we place on, what kind of emphasis we place on the stories we paint as to what success means. And that's a little confusing. So here's what I mean by that. We're wary of just talking about numbers
Correct.
because I like to say this: just because you're growing, if you are growing, it means you're doing something right.
Right.
It doesn't mean you're doing the right thing right.
Exactly.
Correct.
Even cults grow.
Yes.
Right?
Even Coast Girl, yes.
So you can't
Yeah.
look at just numbers of people sitting in your pews
Come
on a
on.
Sunday morning as your success. And I think far too frequently, because that's the way that our culture measures success, we look at churches that are growing quickly and we think, I'm doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing right? And they are doing something right. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're doing the right thing right. And so what do we prioritize? How do we determine success? I would say, rather than how many seats are filled this Sunday, how many seats are going to be filled 10 years from now?
Amen.
What are you doing to ensure that there's real growth in the people sitting in those seats and there's a spiritual development over time? Because if growth is the only metric, then you're going to have a larger church, but it's going to be very shallow and empty. And those seats are going to be empty years from now, or
Amen.
you're just going to keep churning through them. So putting emphasis on discipleship and emphasis on growth inward, not outward,
Yeah.
not just sheer numbers. And when that's our metric, then success looks a lot different, and it changes the way we celebrate what's going on in the church. So
Yeah.
Those two were great.
Yeah.
Jeez. I mean, yeah, friendship. I mean, there's no other way to do it, because if you're not friends, I mean, you're something else then.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
for each other.
There's something
else.
Literally,
Yeah,
there's
that's
something
good.
else if you're not
Yeah.
friends. So, of course, you have to be in true friendship. Also, friendship, comes along with confrontation, too. So, it's just like, I think people are just like, oh, we're friends.
Yeah.
And it's great. And I'm like,
Yeah.
friendship is real. Like, if another church
Uh-huh.
did something, you're
Yeah.
like, hey, excuse me. Clean a minute.
Right.
But it's that too. It's
Yeah.
both. It's
Mhm.
like, I love my church because we say that we want to be a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be this like closed off, like kind of like, we just want to be a bridge.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to
That's
hang,
good.
sure, let's just do it.
Mhm.
Hey, do you want to do it? Sure, we can figure it out.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
And I love that language of becoming a bridge versus just like, I'm just going to be in my own little four walls.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
not like, we want people to kind of like come in and out and just build that way.
Yeah.
And I've been looking at it as like a bridge, like us talking to another church. Okay, that's another bridge. We can
Mhm.
kind of like,
Yeah.
if you're doing a worship thing, like, we'll come over there, like,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
so that's the model that we're trying to obtain
Mhm.
and keep, is this bridge type of like, I want to extend and be a part of your ministry and be with you in it.
Amen.
And not just for like ministry purposes too, but friendship in
Yeah.
real life.
Mhm.
I think that matters too.
Yep.
Yeah. I think
yeah.
relationship is like a big
Yes.
component
Yes.
in not worrying about competing, just in general.
Yeah.
Because if you're in relationship with people, it's like, okay, like I see that you're growing, but I also know like what you've been struggling with, like within like
Yes.
the woes of the church or
Yeah.
the ministry is like, how can I be supporting you? It's like I can genuinely come with that heart versus like, all right, how can we get more people on Easter, or how
Yeah.
can we, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Numbers.
the whole numbers thing, or even like when it comes to resources. So I think relationship is a good component. Now, have you guys ever experienced any resistance when it came to like your mission with the ministries that you run? I'll say,
Resistance meaning what?
so resistance so I'll go for example.
I'm glad you didn't know. I immediately am like, oh yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So for us,
You're blessed. You're not-
yeah, you are blessed.
What do you mean
Like, what do
resistance?
you
What is
mean?
that?
Yeah.
I've
So
never experienced
So
that.
I'll say for us, I think in different ways we experience it. I think it's usually on a micro level. I mean, I think obviously like night of like technical things can happen, whatever. But on a micro level, it could be like a church that we're connecting with. We're sharing mission and we're sharing our heart, and they see like the surface part of it, like the hype part, but like
Okay.
when they hear the mission, it's like kind of in one ear out the other. It's like, okay, but we'll be open to being a part, but we want to do it our way.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
like, oh man, that's not a part of our mission though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like the
Okay.
resistance like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. And you don't have to be specific, like
Sure.
like you don't have
Yeah.
to say names or anything.
I'm gonna call out some
No,
churches,
no.
names. It's
I thought
reckoning
you meant
time.
resistance, like, I mean, there's spiritual things that
Oh,
happen.
yeah,
I was
absolutely.
like, are you talking
Yeah,
about that?
yeah.
Because that
Yeah.
thing, talk about that for a
That's-
long time.
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
I've got a good example of resistance that I've felt in.
And then
in
how did you
starting this
navigate it?
ministry. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because you do a lot of churches, though. Like, you, Commonwealth is actually at a lot of churches.
Yeah. We are.
So,
It's been that's been a long, slow process
Yeah,
of
yeah.
building up kind of the legitimacy and
Mhm.
respect in this area.
correct.
For a long time, we're like, please host us. We're legit, I swear. We're finally reaching the point where churches are reaching out to us, hoping to
Well,
host,
that's
which is
good.
like
Yeah.
a huge hurdle jumped. But throughout this whole process, even to today, one of the pieces of resistance that we've experienced is larger churches not wanting to engage or help out.
Mm-hmm.
And this is no disrespect to the large churches
Yeah,
in our
for sure.
area. There's clearly like a sense of protection. They want to make sure that their flock is spiritually protected.
Mm-hmm.
And larger churches have satellite, like,
Yep.
like locations, too. So
Totally.
it's a lot
Yes.
bigger.
Yeah.
And they want to know if they're sending their people to something or to an event that it's spiritually aligned with where they are. They don't want to send their especially younger or newer Christians within their ranks somewhere where their faith is going to be uprooted. And they also don't have the capacity to check out or investigate every opportunity that
Yeah.
comes their way,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
But I think there was a lot of attitude, either through responses or lack thereof, more often than not, of the kind of mentality like, well, I see what you're doing. I see the need for what you're doing of connecting young adults, but our young adults are pretty well connected within our walls. We've got a large young adult community, so we don't necessarily
Yeah.
need an event like this.
Yikes.
And
Ooh.
my challenge to those churches would be, if we're truly seeing ourselves as one body, that's the equivalent of the hand saying to the foot, I don't need you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. That's actually correct.
Yeah.
Right. And you may not need the resources we have, but what resources do you have that you can offer to the greater church in the area?
Absolutely.
We
yeah.
need you guys.
Yeah.
Openness.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So that's been a hurdle, and it's been a slow, arduous process to kind of break into some of those churches and win them over, and it's ongoing.
Yeah.
So
A lot of the bigger churches have like boards
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
multiple levels.
Yes.
Like,
multiple levels. It's like playing a video game. Like
Multiple.
growing.
right. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like how many
Yeah.
levels do I have to go through?
Right.
And sometimes you are disappointed. Like
Yeah.
and you're like trying to
That's
go for
real.
something.
Let's
and
be honest
you
about
have
it.
a
Yeah.
waiting
Yeah.
period
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
you're like, really?
Yeah.
It took 5 months to get a
Yep.
no. And I'm
Yep.
like,
Yes.
it's hard.
Mhm.
I will say one of the ways we've combated the frustration or disappointment that comes with that is God has over the years kind of shown me how to release some of that and to say, hey, these bigger names, bigger churches, bigger musicians even, that it's really hard to loop in. Focus on the people that want to be there, that want to
Right,
be
correct.
involved, that are showing that desire, that passion.
That's good.
And so not wasting energy on the people that don't want to be there. And he'll take care of them.
Yeah.
I don't have to force my way in.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Try put too much on myself
That's so good.
to force them to get involved. And that when you're focusing on people that want to be there, want to get involved, churches
Yeah.
that want to host and be a
Amen.
part,
Yeah.
it just shifts the whole attitude
Bro, yes.
of the events and the nights.
and you
So-
start to focus more on a lot of like what the Lord is just doing.
Yeah.
It's like because like I think when we've dealt with that too. I
Yeah.
think when you get in that space of like disappointment when a church is like not really open to like really just unity in the church and they're just really focused on like yeah, no, we kind of got it all figured out.
Right.
You can forget about like or miss like what God is doing already
Correct.
within the ministry. Is like no, like God is already like moving in like miraculous ways.
Yeah.
I mean, because in the area that in the DMV area, like it's countercultural for what everything that we're doing with our ministries is countercultural to the area. Like that our culture. Well, I mean, I'm not here anymore, but I'm born and raised here.
You're born and raised here.
Yeah.
You'll
So
always be a DMV.
honorary
Let's
member.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the culture of the DMV is like, you know, you got your own thing and you focus on your own thing
Correct.
and that's it. You don't look to your left or your right. You just look
Right.
straight ahead. But like what we're doing is like we're looking all around and like we're being open-handed and open-armed.
Yeah.
And so like just like you said, like focusing on like the people that actually want to be involved and the people that are already like bought in and like saying like, hey, like, I mean, what you love to do is like, bet, let's go.
Yeah.
And the doors are still opening.
And the doors are still opening.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
It's
even
true.
if it's not like big
Yeah.
church or the church that we want,
Yeah.
doors are still opening.
They're still opening.
And the Lord
Amen.
always makes a way.
Yes.
So it's hard, but it's like, okay, Lord, you gotta
Yeah.
show up.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where that trust and kind of you have to push your energy there. I mean, it's part of
So
humanity to
true.
get frustrated.
Absolutely.
And I think you should feel that.
Yeah.
But I think part of it's just like, all right, Lord, I'm more like, all right, it's your problem. You got to deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Becca, what about you?
What about me? I've experienced that maybe once.
Do we need to find
it's-
resistance for
Do we
you?
need a divine
Well,
resistance?
it's hard because like me and Jose and well, District Collab too, we like pay for venues.
Yes.
So it's different. When you pay, they're just like, all right, cool.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
have the room.
Yeah.
You can do what
Do
you want. Yeah,
whatever
it's
you
like,
want
do whatever you
to do.
It's okay. You know, some venues I'm like, you do realize it's like church music.
Right,
They're like,
right.
it's fine. Just do whatever. I'm
It's
like,
like,
all
yeah,
right.
we can
Yeah.
have a bar and a bartender
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool though too because we did have a venue in Maryland.
Uh-huh.
I think you went there.
Yeah.
I remember that. Oh God, what part of Maryland I was? I can't remember.
Was it Hyattsville?
Hyattsville.
Yes.
Yeah. And even the owner, it was interesting. Owner, she had a partner, and so we didn't know this. They're like, okay, well, all right, here we go. You know, like we're just living our lives and we pay. But it was beautiful, and I'm gonna go back to it. But it was beautiful to see them worship.
Yes.
I
Oh,
remember
wow.
looking up because it was like one of the things where like there was a top
Yes.
level,
Mm-hmm.
and her and her partner were just like worshiping, and I said, "That's it."
That's crazy.
But that's it though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And I was like,
Let's
if this
go.
whole night was just a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But if it's like for them to be connected, I mean, they reach out to us all the time, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we would love to have you back," and I'm like, "That's it though," because you're touching people that
Yeah.
you can normally touch when you're like in the confines of the church. So
Exactly. Yeah.
we did have a something that did happen to us recently. I would say in last year. You know, kind of going through, you know, asking churches like, hey, if you want to, you know, we do kind of do venues sometimes. We do churches. We did an outdoor event last year. So we're kind of like bouncing to kind of figure it out. The good thing about us is like we're pop-ups. We can kind of do what we want and just pop up wherever we want to. And that is hard too, of course,
Yes.
dealing with like, you
Yeah.
know, permits and
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
come on.
like paying for a police officer. Who even knew? So it's just like, you gotta like, it's like all these things that come with it. But I do remember like us going to, you know, a church and we're going through the process. And then like, it was like, we're planning stuff. We're already like there planning for it. And then months later to be told no, we're like, I don't
Crazy.
even know. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to think or feel, you
Yeah.
know, because it was yes all the way up until, you know, a certain point.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like churches have their thing. They go through boards, they go through leadership, and the person I'm talking to may be different than
Yes.
the other person that's like doesn't even know me, doesn't
Yeah.
even know the ministry, has no clue. They're just looking at it through a paper
Yeah.
and trusting that it's okay. And I think that's where I'm just like, ugh, it's kind of hard because on paper, what does it read like versus you being connected to me and seeing me and talking to me?
Yeah.
And so I think that's where it's been kind of like hard. Is like you kind of have to put yourself out there, but on paper too, in a sense to be appealing.
Yeah.
But we're not like that people. You know, like I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, we do da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I don't want to do that either.
Yeah.
So it feels weird.
It does.
Already.
Yeah.
And I think that's my tension sometimes with like doing some stuff like that or with the bigger church. Like, okay, I have to
Yeah.
present myself or my ministry in a certain way.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, but that's not really who we
Do you
are.
feel like that as an artist too?
Personally, you told me artist. I feel like I'm not. I'm like, no. Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
most times artists, you have to put yourself out there in a certain
Yeah.
way. You have to present yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God that people are reaching out to me most times. I'm not
Yeah.
selling yourself out there, if I
Right,
can say
yeah.
that. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you kind
yeah.
of have to have, like, most artists have a portfolio.
Yeah.
They have all these things. People are like, oh, you should have a website, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Literally,
I don't
yeah.
want a website. I don't know why people are trying to force these things on me.
Yeah.
Because you're like an artist, right? You have an album out. You have music out.
Mm-hmm.
You should have a booking thing. You should
Yes.
have this. You should have a manager. All these things. And I'm like, I don't know if I want that, though.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's hard, too. It's just like trying to, like, but I want to do some stuff.
Right.
But I can't be lackadaisical and just sit and just expect,
Yeah.
for me to just do nothing and nobody come to me. And so I do have that tension, too, sometimes where
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what to, do I put myself, what do I say
Yeah.
about my own self? But I don't like that already.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, especially because it's like with Christian. I feel like with non-Christian music,
it's pride. You don't want to get prideful either.
With non-Christian music, it's easier to be like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, I did this, I've
Oh,
done that, I've
yes.
been on this stage, I've been with that
Yes.
person. With
Yeah.
Christian music, I feel like it's like, especially if your mission is like, I really want to point people to Jesus. It does feel a little weird to like feel
Yeah.
like you have to like say all these like names and things that you've
Totally.
done in order for
Yeah,
people
yeah.
to take you seriously.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I live with that tension all the time, and
Yeah.
and I hate when I don't hate, but like I cringe when like someone asks for my bio, and then they read
Yeah.
my bio and it's like that makes me sound like something that I'm not, and I really
yeah.
just want to lead people to Christ
Because
through
it's your
worship.
checklist.
Yes.
It's a checklist or your character.
It's like, oh, okay,
It's
you
what
did
it
that.
is. It's
Okay,
like,
yeah.
who are you as a person? Is it
Yeah.
your character, or is it like the checklist
Yeah,
that
it's
you
like
have?
that is not
Yeah.
me. That like
Yeah.
God has allowed me to do those
This
things.
is a person.
Yes, yeah.
Ironic that he's saying this because when I name drop, Ryan's one of the names.
Oh my
that I
God,
use,
that's
so
crazy.
For sure.
That's so funny.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I know we need to close this out, so I want to ask a few lighthearted questions. We went
Okay.
into like we
Ooh.
was getting
Yeah.
deep. We was
Deep.
We
getting
got a
deep.
little deep.
Okay. So what is something funny that has happened at a Commonwealth District Collab United States? I want you to go first, if I could.
A funny thing or frustrating thing?
It could be
A
funny and frustrating.
A funny thing that's happened at a district lab. Huh. Let me see. I'm trying to think overall funny thing. It's hard. It's very funny.
This is funny right now.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't think anything was funny. I felt a lot of other emotions,
yeah.
but funny.
in the stress of
I'm like, I'm
setting
stressed
everything up and the
out.
hours up to
Yeah.
there's no funny.
Right,
Yeah.
Um,
I think one of the funny moments for me is that, like, I think there was a miscommunication. We love people of the arts. We do. I'm gonna say that
Yes.
already. But it was funny because we're like in rehearsal, locked in this, new song,
Yeah.
like a district collab. We're like doing this, and all of a sudden, like, this dancer comes with these flags. There's
Okay.
like 3 or 4 or 5 of them,
Oh wow.
and they're
Yes.
like going ham in the room and just like flags and
Yeah.
everything. And I'm like, what
Wow.
is going on?
Yeah.
It just it was funny to me, and we all
Wow.
start laughing because I'm like, who let them in the rehearsal? And they're just like flags going everywhere, and we're trying to like rehearse and like run around.
Yeah.
And they're like prophetically dancing. Fine,
Yes.
do that. But it was funny
Wow.
to me because I'm just like, okay, Lord, is this what we need now, or I don't know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You're part of the band
Are we-
now.
yeah.
You're part of the band now.
It was a funny moment because the whole band was just laughing. This is
Wow.
not the vibe we thought we were going
It's like we didn't
for.
expect them
we
to
didn't
be here.
expect
Yeah.
them to be here,
Wow.
but I mean, I guess we have to. So
Yeah.
that's one funny moment, I would say.
I love
Good.
that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know one. So I believe this was 2022 in October. We had an outdoor fall worship night. Vibes were strong, and we hosted this thing called a love feast, which is kind of like it's like a cousin of communion.
Okay.
It's an old Moravian tradition that we wanted to incorporate into one of our services, where people break bread together and have hot chocolate or tea. And so the goal was to make chai tea that night. It was a cool fall night, and have some warm bread. And so after the worship was over, people were gonna have this discussion time and break bread together. And So no one in charge of making the tea had ever made tea before, and they're trying for the first time to create chai tea for about 400 people.
Oh my god.
And I don't know what came out of that kitchen, but it was not tea.
Oh gosh.
It most of it got used to water the plants
No
that
way.
night. People, you could see, if you look around, you could see people taking a sip, then a weird look on their face, and then the rest of it just got poured out.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And we joked about creating T-shirts after that event, saying Commonwealth 2022. I survived the mud water.
Oh gosh, it was like mud water.
Mud water?
Oh
Was that
goodness.
bad?
It was bad. It was real bad.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
I heard some people whispering, and I was like, it can't be that bad. I took a sip. I was like, yeah, I'm not drinking any more of that.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Funny moment. Brandy, do you have one before? You don't have a funny moment? You're just
Shout out to Brandy, by the
Yeah,
way.
Yeah, shout out to
yeah,
Brandy.
sure.
She's like manning the cameras
There
right
you
now.
go, Brandy.
Okay, so what I can think of, I don't know if it's like necessarily funny, more so dangerous.
Oh,
So,
Okay. Okay.
I
so
like it already.
in 2023, we did a collaboration with circuit riders.
She knows
it's
where
the
this is going.
overlay.
Yeah.
Also, like, shout out to circuit riders. They're like,
Yes.
they're our fam.
Yeah.
A lot of them came from California to Nashville. But in 2023, did a collaboration with them, and so we were originally supposed to be in DC for the first time. I mean, like had already talked to the pastor. Pastor's like, yeah, let's go. Like, we're so excited for the night. And then we're like, okay, yeah, so we're planning to bring, like, we're just going off our checklist. Like, we're bringing, like, this for sound and,
Yeah.
and whatever. He's like, oh, we actually have none of that. I'm like, you have none of, like, what do you mean you
Oh,
you
no.
have none of that?
Oh, no.
And he was like, yeah, we only have, like, I think it was like an 8-channel thing. And we're like,
No way.
oh, I was like, bro.
No way.
I was like, this is not gonna happen.
No way.
And so, like, we're like talking to the team, like, okay, we have to figure something out because, like, we have all these people that are planning to show up at this thing, and yeah, if we are planning to be there, like, no one is gonna be able to hear anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be like trying to like have a room full of people and like just have like a little sound system like this in order in order for people to hear and worship. And so thankfully the church that I was serving at was like, yo, yeah, let's do it, let's have it here last minute. So we get there, everything's going great, we're setting up, it's like plug and play. So as people are starting to fill in, mind you, this is February 2020, it's really, really, really cold that night. So the room was cold. I think, did you turn the heat on? Yeah, Brandy turned the heat on, and we start smelling like this burning smell. It's like, is something burning? It's like, is someone cooking something? No one was cooking anything. I think the heating thing was just not off for so long.
It's trying to kick in.
And it was
yeah.
trying to kick in, and so the pastor came in, and I think my wife, she texted him. She was like, I think something's on fire. And we were just like, is something on fire? Like, and so he came in and he rushed out because he was like right across the street. Like, he rushed like into the room, and he's like checking everything. He's like, oh, we'll be good. It's just the heat. I was just like, oh, okay, all right, cool. And then also too, I'll say the dangerous part. Well, that was the dangerous part. The other dangerous part is we just had so many people in that room. It was like we didn't expect like that room to be that we didn't expect that many people to show up. Like, we had people like bleeding out into like the lobby. Like,
Whoa.
and it was like definitely a fire.
It's a great problem to have.
It was a fire hazard for
It is,
sure.
it
It was like more people were coming like, we're sorry. We don't have enough room to actually see anything. So
Oh, no.
unfortunately, we can't let you
That
in.
reminded me
Oh,
of
wow.
a story of like at the Heightsville location. Nobody
Yeah.
knew that for some reason the day was going great, and I don't know, a transponder exploded.
Oh wow.
outside,
Oh gosh.
and my ear went. Like it was so
Oh.
loud to me, and I like lost hearing
Oh
in my
no.
left ear.
Oh
Whoa.
gosh.
A little bit, and I was like, I can't hear anything. And so half of the room lost electricity. And I look at Jose like, what do we do? We just paid
No
money.
way.
What is going on?
Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out. And they're like, well, the company will be healed tomorrow. And I said, you have got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I'm like, we have people coming
Oh
to
my
worship, and we're still upstairs doing like, we had workshops and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
uh-huh.
I was like, oh my gosh. And so we had thought somebody ran into the pole, but that wasn't the case.
Okay.
Which I
Thank
was like,
God.
thank God.
Yeah.
But it exploded so loud that it like landed, the debris landed on like the sound truck and stuff like that. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is bad. Long story short, they're like still setting up as normal. We're talking to the owners and stuff like that. And then literally 10 minutes before we started worship, it came back on.
Oh gosh.
I was
No
like,
way.
it had to be the Lord.
Yeah.
Because I was
No
like, we
way.
wouldn't have recorded anything
Yeah,
that night
literally.
or
Wow.
captured anything. And I'm like, Jose, this is the craziest thing.
Yes.
I think because nobody would believe us. We were stressing out like so bad. And I was like, the team
Wow.
was like, what do we do? What's
Yeah.
happening? And I'm like,
Enemy tried his hardest.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tried his hardest.
I was like, out of all days today.
Yeah.
really.
I think a common thing with all of our stories is that we have to rely on the Lord.
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, it's not.
And you
by-
have to keep going.
And you have to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you have to pivot,
So true.
like the Lord is
It's
gonna,
okay.
He's gonna pave a
Yep.
way, and it's gonna be
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
And if it's one of those kind of things out of our control, the Lord knew it was coming.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
he
for
knew.
sure,
He
for
did not.
sure.
He was not surprised that the
Yeah.
power went off.
Yeah, literally.
Correct.
He was not surprised that incense was
Incense-
burning.
Incense was arising.
Yeah.
The incense arise. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Cool. All right. So, we're about to close. Is there anything that you guys want to like say about your ministries or anything like any events coming up that you want to highlight? Or I mean, by the time this comes up, it might be the
Yeah.
event might be after.
Come to our event 3 months ago.
Right. 3 months ago. But is there anything that you just want to say like, hey, like, we're doing this or like we're working on this and we'd love to like bring you into that or whatever?
Yeah. I'll go because I had something come to mind immediately.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the songwriting arm
Amen.
that has come out of Commonwealth, and it's a beautiful extension of what Commonwealth is all about. We introduced our first original song at the most recent worship night.
Let's go.
And
That's
it's
amazing.
getting recorded.
Let's go.
And so I don't know what's going to come of this part of the ministry
Yeah.
or how God's going to use it, but really excited to keep writing and releasing more music.
Amen.
So be on the lookout for some new Commonwealth music.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And where can people like follow?
Yes, where can people follow you?
Oh, yeah. So we're on Instagram, commonwealth.worship. It's a great way to keep up with what we're
Mhm.
doing. We're on Spotify as well, Commonwealth Worship. And, yeah, we will reach out to us in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Facebook,
DM,
email,
Facebook,
Yes.
email.
carrier pigeon.
Carrier
we will
pigeon.
find
Yeah.
a way.
Carrie Pigeon's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
slow, but we'll get.
It
to
might be
We
slow,
will get
yeah.
to you
Yeah.
eventually. Yeah, but I just love the idea of songs from the community for the community.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get together because we're starting to do songwriting like
Yeah,
for Unity Nights
Ooh.
too. So I think we should
absolutely.
collaborate
That's
on
good.
that. I
Yeah,
think
that's
that would
what
be
it's all
fire.
about.
We're
Yeah.
doing it in here in Nashville, so it'd be cool
Oh,
to bring
wow.
some guys down to
Ooh.
Nashville.
That'd be really cool.
Ooh,
yeah.
Nashville
Okay.
vibes.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say less.
I'm looking forward to District Collab. We're also like reworking what it could possibly look like. The cool thing is that like the District Collab is not really a set stone of rhetoric of what it's supposed to look like. We
Okay.
can do what we want. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like morph it. And I love that like we're in the stages of like we're figuring it out, but we
Yeah.
also know what we want to do. And I think we want to do kind of like in the future like a more scaled back kind of acoustic-y vibe.
Okay.
Recording
Yeah.
or type of studio type of thing just to see what that would feel like
Mhm.
with people showing up. And so we're kind of tossing these ideas and then doing just like a vendor event where people just kind of like come and we'll just kind of support local businesses
Yeah.
only.
Mhm.
We're just going to focus on that. And
That's
so
cool.
we're
Let's
trying to
go.
like do these different ideas. I mean, I low-key want to have like a fashion show That's personally, I
Yes,
don't know.
come on.
Like,
No, I'm for
like,
that.
That'd be
like not a
awesome.
cheesy
No,
Christian
but, like,
fashion show, but
legit.
like really cool. I mean,
Yes.
streetwear.
Yeah.
I'm like, give it to me all. I want to
Yes.
see it, and not just like
Yeah.
walking, but like different kind of points in the room where people can
Yes,
go.
bro,
Wow.
that's so
Like a
fire.
live kind of museum kind of in a sense.
Yeah.
And just watch people. You can walk through the room and kind of see clothing on people. And
Wow.
so
I need
I
all
don't
the
know.
wardrobe help I can get. So
we got you.
yeah,
we got
more-
you. We got you. So I'm kind of. It's
Yeah.
kind of cool to like think about these ideas and what it could look like, not just worship.
Amen.
Because we know worship is a form of
But
art.
that's a form of worship too.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Like
Amen.
clothing
Yes.
Yeah.
and paintings.
Preach.
And you had a lot of painting. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like a museum. So it's just like we're trying to get more into that and not just music,
Yes.
but also all the arts. And what does that look like? And not make it, corny. And me, my corny self was like, oh, Christian, clothing. It's like back in the bookstore days, But I'm like, we need, like, people are making beautiful clothes. And it
Yes.
comes from their heart.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also partnering with the Lord with it. I'm like, why not? So we're just going to see what happens. I mean, follow us, District Collab Instagram. You can
Yeah.
DM us. Me and Jose.
Is it the District Collab or District Collab?
I think it's the District Collab? District Collab? I should know this.
Okay.
I barely go to our page. Jose is good
yeah.
for these things.
Just
I'm
search
like,
District Collab
Yeah,
on
I think it's
Instagram.
the District Collab.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on Instagram. And you'll find me and Jose's pages. You guys can follow us and DM us. And
Yeah.
it's going to be a fun time to just kind of explore what does that look like and
Love that.
creatively look like in the area.
Amen.
Cool.
Amen.
Yeah.
And I guess for us, we're starting to do songwriting in Nashville. So we're starting in Nashville, and then we'll be bringing it up to DMV, collaborating with you
Oh, yeah.
guys. And and then I think as far as like anything else, like we have like YouTube moments that we put out, like just to recap the nights.
Yeah.
The moments that are good. It's like the moments that are good. And there was no
Yeah.
technical difficulties.
Right.
And then you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook at Unity Nights with the S. And I think that's pretty much it. We don't
good.
we don't have anything else new happening
exciting.
other than the normal stuff. So cool.
Amazing.
All right, well guys, I appreciate y'all so much for doing
Appreciate
this.
you. Thanks for inviting
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, of course.
You're the man.
And then I
Thanks
think
for bringing us
I'll
together.
leave this cliffhanger.
Ooh.
District Collab, Commonwealth, Unity Nights.
Yes.
Collaboration.
It's happening.
Let's go.
It's
It is
only a matter of
happening.
time.
It's
It's
only a matter
happening.
of time, but it's
Only a
happening.
matter of
I've been
time. I'll
building
just
to
leave
that.
that cliffhanger.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
happening.
All right, y'all. We out.
Bye.
Peace.